I forgot to start my screen. Cool. So yeah, like I was saying, man, it's just it's one of those situations where the the way the charts were setting, the way everything was setting up, and then Tesla, it pulled back initially. So it ran up here, broke out of the broadening formation, right? But then it ended up pulling back on this daily, but it still was a bullish finish, and it closed above the gap fill here. So it got up to the gap, filled the gap, the bear gap, filled that, and it's just below this broadening formation. So if the debt ceiling stuff does work out, well, this was at the time before we knew on Friday before the close. We were like, if something does, if a decision is made or anything, then this would be a good play because Tesla had already run up to, you see, it ran all the way up to just about $200. What was that? 198.82 was the high on Friday. Yeah, 198.60 was the high on Friday. So, and they pulled all the way back down and closed at 193. So I'm like, that'll be a nice bull move if we get some news, and we got some news, so that's good. And but we grabbed a SPY put for insurance just to have some sort of strangle like play. But yeah, but pretty much, so for people wondering, pretty much that the deal just still has to be formalized. So once that deal is formalized, then we'll be able to move forward. But the good thing about this is what happens right now is the Treasury will be able to take care of all of the debts and stuff that they had already they're obligated to pay. So that's a good thing. And it just also is just good for right now. I just think that in the short term, it's a good thing. And I think we'll be all right. So I'm looking for some bullishness, but we'll see how the futures look tonight at 6 p.m., 8 p.m., 6 p.m. futures open. But yeah, this was the session hour on Friday, how it bounced off the 9 EMA. This is us, Tesla also. And I want to take a look at the weekly, but I just wanted to bring the session hour up. This was the most important signal right here, though, on the weekly, because this little bull flag breakout here on the weekly. So we got a wedge break and a candle confirmation on the weekly. So totally bullish. Then we got another green oscillator bar here. So everything looks good. I like the way Tesla looks. So I'm like, if anything, we can get the 200. So that's why I called out the 200 call for next week. Also, I was I'm thinking, so I'll get to Meta in a minute, but yeah, just for Tesla, I just think that that was a solid play. Anybody got any thoughts or questions about it? Okay, cool. All right. I just want to say that, this is a trade that we're in. So, this is a trade that we're in that we'll be in tomorrow when market opens. So it's okay to, if anybody that's on here now don't got no questions about the trade or any idea about the trade at all, it's okay. It's okay. We can do a virtual shake to ignore those questions if we get any tomorrow during market hours. Is that a nod to that? I mean, I know I can.
That's cool with me.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, cool. All right, cool.
Hey, bro.
What's up, bro?
So, a spot like, say the news don't come in as expected. At what point would you use your stop loss?
Well, the news came in. Well, let's just be clear. The news came in over the weekend. Corleone posted it in the chat that we got a tentative deal to address the nation's debt ceiling. We got a tentative deal, so that came in. So I'm expecting a gap up. If anything, unless something crazy comes out, I'm expecting a gap up or something. So that's what I'm expecting. But yeah, go ahead. But let's just say if anything caused it to pull back, what was you saying? Where would the stop loss? My bad.
Yeah, either a stop loss or to average down on it. Would it be like a slight retest? before the news actually like before the market reacts to the news. Let me say it like that.
Okay, so let's say this. All right, so now, all right, I'm gonna go down to, so we got this weekly chart. Now, if I'm gonna base my trade off this weekly now, right, then I'm just gonna keep the weekly just here, right? So we got this weekly, we got this, sorry. So I'm just gonna use this weekly as reference, as a reference point or whatever, right? So if we wanna do that, if SPY, I'm saying SPY, once market opens, as a matter of fact, let's do it like that. Once market opens on Tuesday, because we got a short week. So that's another thing that we got to be mindful of, that since the market's closed today, we got a short week. So the theta going to be, we got one less day. So higher theta on those contracts that open tomorrow. So the last thing I'm gonna be really thinking about, if our play was to not go according to plan, I wouldn't be thinking about averaging down necessarily. You know, like it's, you only average down off key levels. So like, for example, it bounced off this 9 EMA on the session hour. So and it was a strong, nice bounce off of it. So I'm looking like a nice possible continuation off of this, especially based off the way it closed and if and the way SPY and everything closed. So yeah, so I guess if your question, I would be, it would, as long as it holds key levels, I would not cut the trade initially, because again, you expect some pullbacks or whatever, and try, and I would just try to, and just and this just goes for everybody too, right? But I just so as far as averaging down goes, you know what I mean? I would just work the play, you know what I mean? Just work the play necessarily, you know what I mean? If the trade is good, just work the trade. I mean, don't just forget the averaging down for a minute, you know what I mean? Just work the trade and let it, you know, let it play out, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so what I would do definitely, I would set my stop loss at, and with a trade like this, honestly, because I wouldn't want it to lose the 9 EMA if once the market opened, because at that point we're intraday, we did swing, and we swung because of the again, the bullish nature of the chart and what was possibly going to happen in the market. And I was just thinking that if we got to 198.60, if we pull back, now it's going to have a continuation and go to 200. So I was hoping for some sort of retest. We got that retest right, you know, heading into the close. That's when I called the trade out. So I'm looking for a move up from here, not a move down, you know. So yeah, so but if it pulls back a little bit, just give yourself a percentage that you would be willing to lose. I mean, to close the trade on, because like, I'm gonna give you an example right here. Look at this one. So this was a close under the 9 EMA on Tuesday, and you see we gapped down, we opened down, right? So if I was thinking about trading or Tesla on that day, and obviously hindsight 2020, but this is a textbook trade right here to me, in my opinion, unless there's some data. You know, couldn't break, it lost the 9 EMA and it kept rejecting it. I would have got puts here. You know what I mean? So right. It's coming down. So now on the flip side, you know, we looking at it a different way. Like, here's another situation here where it got back above the 9 EMA that a few days later, right? So this was another situation. So it gets back above the 9 EMA. For some reason, it gapped up here. This was another day. It found a way to close above the 9 EMA here. And it was like, I would say barely, but it was a nice close above the 9 EMA here. And the next candle, it opened and it just ran like a bat out of hell at power. So, but you know, that would have possibly been a situation to swing. Here's another one where we are right now, you know, so we got that nice bullish bounce off the 9 EMA and we swung. So I'm looking for a continuation here, you know. So if the stock was to pull back some, again, as long as the candle doesn't solidify under this 9 EMA, and again, like I said, there are different scenarios, there are different circumstances to each play, where I would look at the session hour and just say, okay, well, damn, it just lost this particular EMA let me go ahead and cut this trade. But yeah, that would be one of them situations. I mean, I'm just looking at how price action has played out here in the past, right? So, but then you look on a this was, see, the last in the first hour, there was a very volatile hour. So I don't necessarily use those hours to stabilize. Well, especially the first hour, especially the first hour. That hour isn't really, I don't let the price action in that first hour typically dictate what the price action is really going to be for the day. Because look at this right here. And I know I'm going all over the place, but I'm trying to just make a point here. This was another close below the non-EMA right here on the session hour on Wednesday, but immediately look how hard it gapped up the next day. So we closed down here, 82, gapped up to 86.44, and then violently sold off and closed below the non-EMA on the 10 o'clock candle. But you see, we moved back up. They found a way to move back up. So I guess it was probably some news here on Thursday. Was that consumer came out Thursday? GDP was pre-market Thursday, and that was bullish, but it was also something else. I don't know, some other stuff that was going on. But yeah, it ran up, but then they sold it off really quickly. It probably was some news that came out. I don't know. Was that the day that fake that they put that fake Pentagon picture out or something? I don't know, but it was something that made the market sell off quickly, and then it recovered within an hour or so and came back, and then we got a bullish rush. But yeah, I'm just saying, just follow the price action in this situation. Yeah, I would definitely just don't overthink it. Just I'm anticipating a gap up on this. I'm anticipating a gap up on the market. But like I said, we'll get an early indication of what happens pre-market. I'm sorry, tonight when the futures open. So the Asian futures open tonight.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah, my bad. So, I could kind of go in on these types of things and start looking at these candles. And so, yeah, my bad. Got off track. But no, that type of stuff is needed at times, man, when we in a trade. But again, there's nothing wrong with averaging down. I just don't want that to be, because that can be kryptonite for a lot of traders. I've seen it be kryptonite for a lot of traders. So just make sure it's off of key levels and it's something that you expect and a trade, and it's not too late in a week, because I'm like, instead of averaging down, I can just roll that trade if I believe in it and I'm getting closer to the end. So yeah.
No averaging down after Wednesday, right?
Yeah, after Wednesday.
Okay, good.
1 second. Bring up SPY since we already here. Crazy close on Friday, man. That was a crazy surge right there. And we closed above that breakout. We broke out and we had a candle confirmation on the daily here. The session hour was crazy, man. This was all power hour. So it wasn't even a gap up. Well, we had a gap up. It was a slight gap up. We gapped up from close at 414.64. We gapped up. We opened at 415.33. But this was the whole power hour surge. So from market open, it surged all the way up to damn near 420. So it ran all the way up to 419.20. So it ran $5 from in the first hour of market open. So that was crazy. And that was when we got the breakout here that we were actually during power hour Friday, we were anticipating this. And so that candle close was important, and it held it, and it ran throughout the day. Let's look at how the weekly finished though on SPY. Damn, a nice hammer. So it got a nice bullish bounce off the non-EMA. So you see how it's been holding that non-EMA here, even on a weekly. And then we close into this gap fill area, because what I told y'all, I was telling y'all on Friday, long before we got out of this wedge break, that if it broke above this wedge break, I gave it the 18, I think I said 18, whatever level I said, if it break above there, it was going to 422. We closed above, where did we close Friday? We closed at 420 on Friday. So the official close was 420. And I'm looking at it on multiple exchanges that the official close was 420.02. So we got to close above 420. We got a few more dollars to close that gap up to the 422 price level. So let's see how this goes, man. I like what I'm seeing. And again, it was just a bullish close on Friday. Cool. Let's keep that moving. All right, what was next? What was next? What was next? What was next? Yeah, but hold on before I move on. So yeah, it was a few stocks, man, that we probably should hit from this heat map. But but so before I do that though, I got to talk about CRM. I got to talk about, because I'm gonna forget to talk about it, and I want to make sure I hit CRM, because CRM has earnings this week, and CRM can be one of them ones. Let's just say that, right? CRM can be one of them ones. They report the same day as CrowdStrike. And let me just go to CRM is Salesforce, by the way. Take this off. And damn, I didn't even, and the crazy thing, I didn't even realize that it ran as hard as it ran over the weekend. I mean, well, I'm sorry, last week. That retest of that non-EMA, and just, I know this is off topic, but it's not off topic. Like what we were talking about with Tesla a little while ago on the session. Well, this is a weekly right here, but I'm just going to give you an example though, like a bounce off of this, love this non-EMA, then a continuation. This is a weekly chart though, and this is the daily. So we got time frame continuity. We got a 222 continuation on the weekly and the daily time frame. And since the monthly closes this week, let's just take a look and see how that looks. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay. Is that inside or did that break out? Let me see if that broke out. SO2. Yeah, so that's okay. So that's a 222 continuation on the monthly also. Crazy. So we got full time frame continuity on this one. So they got earnings coming up now. And this is good because if they have a good earnings, their earnings is going to give us the first look in the enterprise space. You know what I mean? So let's just see if they're, because with the recession, the reason they were anticipating the market to be bearish so quicker than a lot sooner this year was because they thought that earnings was going to come in and show the real weakness in the market. And for some reason, well, not just for some reason, but tech came through surging. Shout out to AI. And so shout out to AI. So tech came through surging, and I'll just say Nvidia and Meta carried the market on its back because those are the two top performing stocks on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ for the entire year, right? So just those two are the top performing stocks. And but yeah, so let's see what CRM has to do. I mean, I feel like if CRM beat and they can guide up, right, give us some good guidance, just give us some good guidance heading into the next quarter. And again, this is a monthly chart here. So if they do that, man, we can get a nice surge from this stock, man. This is a big one. So, and they report on Wednesday after the close. So this is something, and like I said, shout out to AI. They also report on Wednesday after the close. I know Katie and Corleone been big on that stock lately. So they report after the close. So let's see how this goes, man, because I'm looking at, where is that? Where did it close on Friday? This closed at 215. I'm looking for a nice surge. And let me just see if I can see something really quickly in terms of the, a second. Because I know when I checked on Friday, they were expecting like a $20 move. The expected move was $20 on Salesforce for, and again, earnings isn't until Wednesday. So that's just what they have, the expected move set at for now. And the IV on this play is crazy right now. But I also attribute that to the fact that it's been running like crazy for the last all week, for the last few weeks too. You see how it looks on the monthly. So, and this is back to the weekly. So it's been running And so, yeah, I just think that even if and again, just let's be clear. So even if we're not talking about this for earnings necessarily, the fact that it's been moving so much, this is a great trade heading into earnings. We played this a few times heading into earnings without playing the earnings. So it's another stock to keep on mind. The average true range is about $4.50 a day on this stock. So it's a nice mover and it's bullish. So yeah, man, I just want to, one other thing I want to take a look at on this real quick. Let's just take a zoom out on this and look at okay, great. What I wanted to do is, because when you see a stock surging like this for the last few weeks, or I'll say the last few months, you be like, damn, well, a pullback has to be imminent, or, are we chasing like a stock that's overbought or whatever? But when you look at this in context, the all-time high for this stock, where's the all-time high? So I don't know if this is the all-time high. I have to look, but it looked like it's the all-time high is 311. We all the way down to 215. So we got some room. We got some room on this stock. So, we got some room for this to move. So that's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to have a continuation. And if we can, this is the weekly chart or whatever, we can get back above. If we break, all I'm gonna say is if we can break back above, I'll give it, let's just say 418. If it breaks above 418, it's going to run like a bat out of hell, in my opinion. If we break above 418, it's out of here. And so it's definitely one of the top stocks on my radar for the week, and also on the radar for its earnings. So I'll be looking forward to this. And again, like I said, you see, we've got a few pullbacks. I want to also see where the 50 EMA is on the daily, just to see how far away it is from the 50. Okay, so is this the 50? It's my 50. Let's make sure. I know it's my 50, but let me just make sure. Yeah, that's my 50 here. So it's quite far away from this 50. Yeah, it's quite far away. I mean, not too far away, but it's far away from it. I tell you about stocks like they come back towards the mean, but sometimes I'm just looking at this. What's an earnings right here? This had to be an earnings. Look at this right here, right? This was March. Yeah, this was earnings. Look at this quickly, right? So the last earnings, it closed at 167.35 and then opened the next day at 193.12. So it ran like hell the last earnings, but then you see we got that pullback, came right back down to the 50. So that's the thing. So it can run and it can continue this run into earnings. Let me get VWAP off of here because it has no use on the daily chart. It just was on there. And so you see after the earnings move that day, it opened up here and it closed back down here, and then it came down for the next few weeks to get closer to the mean, which is the 50 EMA, and then it took off again. So every time it comes back down close to the mean before it takes off, and now we're into that earnings stretch. So I can see this running a little more. So, but stocks that run a lot typically come back a little before earnings or heading into earnings. So we'll see how that moves, how that happens, and what if that this was another earnings here, I believe, for CRM. But yeah, so it's either way, it's on my radar. And just another thing to point out, we got one of these potato wedges right here. Hold on. Let me just that's forming. So you know how they pretty much end in violence.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, we got one of them here looking just like Apple. So, it still could so consolidate in this range, and it can come down here. So again, if we break out of here, though, it kind of correlates with my coincides with my theory about if we break above that 218, we break above that 218 price level, we also break out of this wedge. We'll be out of this wedge also, or this rising wedge. And yeah, sorry about the noise, man. But yeah, so and you see the bottom of this trend line it coincides with the 50 EMA, the 50-day moving average. So again, let's just keep this one on watch. This is a good one, and it's one of my top stocks to watch this week. So we will have this on the radar. It's on the radar. Yeah, so nice stock to watch, and some good momentum, man. I like it's nothing like trading momentum, right? Some good momentum will take you a long way when trading. So I'll be trying to make sure that we have some stocks with some momentum. And so this is a good week, though. We got a good catalyst. Another thing is just the thought that if the market does open up tomorrow, imagine how many of these stocks are going to have a continuation or just gap up a lot higher. And again, I'm not looking for anything dramatic or drastic out of Tesla, right? But Tesla is a momentum stock. If we do get a gap up and a move, don't be afraid to secure profit, because yeah, just don't be afraid to secure profit. But yeah, like get this off of here. I like this CRM chart, man. So keep that on watch. Meta. Now I swung Meta calls, I just had to. But what I'm looking for, I'm expecting a pullback on Meta and then a continuation up to 265. That's what I'm expecting for Meta. But I was like, if this news comes out, then Meta could possibly move. But I was just like, let me choose. For as far as the team go, the reason I chose Tesla over Meta for the team is because Meta ran so much already. Tesla just broke out again, and it pulled back from its highs, several dollars, like $4 from the highs, at $5 from the highs on Friday. So it pulled back $5. So I'm like, okay, if anything, Tesla pulled back, cooled off already, and is ready to go. So if we didn't get that news over the weekend, Meta possibly would have pulled back, or maybe not. But I'm just saying the likelihood of Tesla pulling back over Meta at that point was a lot lower. So I rather so Tesla was the better trade. But I like Meta. We already in this gap fill. I told y'all last Sunday that if Meta can get above, what level did I say? If it can get above 60, let's just say 68. If it get above 68, it's going to 300. So that's where we're going. If it gets above 68, it's going to 300. So above 268 is going to 300, right? We already in this gap fill, and the momentum is there. So this was one of the gaps that we got during, this was the big one from one of the big ones from 2022. And so we're looking to fill this gap right here. So, and again, you see how Meta works. Meta will shake you out of a trade in a minute if you aren't looking at the bigger picture. So, yeah, it'll pull back, give you a nice pullback before continuation. So yeah, I like this chart and looks great. Let me bring up the, show the monthly for a second. That's the weekly there. And that was the daily. Crazy monthly chart on Meta, man. Like I said, get above 268 and we go to 300. This is a crazy monthly chart. So look at this right here. We got a continuation on the monthly. So since this pivot here, since we got this 222 reversal back in December of 20, well, it started, it solidified. We got a 222 reversal here in December of 2022, and it's been on a tear ever since. So that's why it's good that, like, if you go and play the weekly, for your long-term swings, then so if you're going to play a stock for a long-term swing, like or leaps or anything like that, then you can use a monthly chart. But this, not for everyday trading, because it'll shake you out of something quickly. Yeah, but I like the way Meta is looking on on almost every time frame. It's actually green on every time frame, the monthly, the weekly, the daily, the hourly, 4 hour. So it's just bullish. But yeah, so a pullback is imminent on Meta before continuation. So my next price target is 265. Yeah, I will make sure I post Meta as well. Cool. All right, cool. Boom. Let's try to bang the rest of this presentation out. Yeah, so this was the sector's performance for last week and for this upcoming, well, for last week and oops, hold on. Go back. My bad. So this was last week, and this was this past Friday. This was last Friday's finish, and this was this Friday's finish. So you see how we get that and like I said, it works like this a lot, but it's not always the case. We had energy was the best performing sector and healthcare following last Friday, well, 2 weeks ago. And then this past Friday, they were the worst performing sectors. We got a flip, and then we got communication sectors and communication.
Like online, but she's saying they talking about if it ain't no reservation, you gotta get a reservation.
KK, you just oh yeah. So yeah. Cool. 1 second. So we know she ain't gonna be in Microsoft this week. So but there we go. I gotta bring up Microsoft too. Microsoft ran like a bat out of hell last week. Shout out to Microsoft, man. All the communication services with regards to just how far they pulled back and then took off. But yeah, so just pointing this out because it's something to keep an eye on. It doesn't always work this way, but I just like to keep an eye on it. Typically, we get these types of moves, especially when the market is just is indecisive. But these were the two worst performing sectors last week, and they finished as the two of the best. And the reason I put these up here is because you see we got communication services here, we got consumer discretionary here. So consumer discretionary are those stocks like Macy's, or let's just say any company where if you got a little extra money to spend and you want to go splurge, like go buy a new dishwasher or something, or go get some retail or something, you know what I mean? That's consumer discretionary when you got some extra money. So those sectors were down and now they're up. So let's see how this goes, man, heading into this week. So anybody got any questions, thoughts, or anything to share? Cool. Yeah. One sec. Well, I mean, one thing I got to share is that so we had some really big trades last week. So obviously for me, the best trade that we had last week was Meta. We swung Meta calls on Friday that opened up and ran on Monday, and those trades, they printed to over $400 and something per option. And we got into more Meta trades later in the week. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I called out another Meta trade, and those trades that same day, that morning, ran to over $400 per option. So Meta's been running, and I'm looking to trade other stocks. Obviously, we've been trading other stocks too, but I just want to say that just make sure you got your alerts on, and make sure that because you can't, if you go in the channel and you see a trade and you just see it's down, and just like, let's say an hour later you see a trade down and you say, okay, well, I saw this trade was called out, let me just take this trade. We could be done with that trade. It could have already taken place and moved on. So you don't want to just, and I'm saying this because I get messages about this all the time. So I just wanted to kind of point it out again this week while I feel y'all were on here, just to say that to just make sure that you locked in. It's best to keep the if you want to mute your notifications, sometimes you can choose, you can click on a specific channel and just mute it for a few hours or whatever. But I think it's very dangerous to have the brainstorming chat or the main chat muted, because you can mute all of those other channels. Like I tell you, those bot channels go off all day long, so you can mute those. But I just will keep them on. You can obviously mute certain members if you don't want to get their messages, but just be wary that, you know, some people do post important updates that you may need to see. So just make sure that they're on. But like, because I get DMs all the time where people missing stuff and they didn't notice something came out, but then turns out they got the brainstorming chat on mute. Because sometimes I don't double post. You know, I'm gonna have a lot of tennis matches. I wasn't going to schedule many this week, but y'all don't have many questions. So I made sure I went thoroughly through these charts. So with the trades that we're in too. So, and I ain't get no questions. So that gave me the green light that my team will be good. And we got some resources in the group too that'll help. So I probably do have a few matches throughout the week. Because they pick up matches. So I'm, you know, probably take a few matches throughout the week. But I just want to let y'all know, just make sure them notifications on, because just because I'm away, I'll still, if I see it, if we going to cut a trade. Oh yeah, that was the reason I bought this up. The main reason. So Microsoft last week, right? Microsoft, and I'm gonna go to the chart because this is important, very important, very important. So last week, Microsoft, one of the biggest trades of the week too, by the way, biggest moves of the week, stocks moves of the week. Microsoft, there was a move that I was anticipating on Microsoft. You know, Microsoft had closed and it pulled back. It found a way to close on the daily here, right? It found a way to close. It pulled back on this day here. It was Tuesday, pulled back, and I was watching it all day. And so I was watching a lot of flow come in. And I also told you it was some dark pool print that came in and some huge ones. So I was expecting a big move for Microsoft, right? It was down here. So right heading into the close, called that trade out. The next day, and also we had, what was it? It was the Fed minutes were coming out the next day, and we saw a pattern that was happening for the Fed minutes where it would typically gap up if it was down that night before, whatever. So, but what ended up happening, Microsoft opened down, and so initially at market open, because it's non-EMA, it's here, right? Initially, it looked like it opened below the 9 EMA. So already in pre-market, it was below it. So I just, I told the team pre-market like 5 minutes before the open to cut that trade, because yeah, it was best to just go ahead and cut that trade. It was going to be, so at market open, it was down 20%, 20.8%. So that was $25 off the contract that we paid. It was $124. So it was I cut it for $95. So I had 10 contracts. I took a $250 cut on that, right? But that's what I said, cut that trade, because you know you live to trade another day. So that was that. And but so some people didn't cut it, and instead of being down 20%, they ended up going down 40% and more. Now what ended up happening, so Microsoft did close below the 9 EMA that day, but the next day, the move that I was expecting to happen on Microsoft happened. It gapped up, and those contracts were in the money, because it was the 320 calls that I called out for the team, and that was when Microsoft was down here at 315, 316, right? But and then I saw a lot of people came out of the cut, like, well, they were already in it or still had it. But a few people that had it, they said they never got the alert to cut the trade. And I put that in the scene. I put it in the main chat, but I also posted it in the channel where I alert the trades too. So, but I'm just saying this, yeah, they got lucky on this one, and it was a great trade. And shout out to me for foxing that move, right? And for putting the team in it. But also shout out to sticking to your plan and cutting it. Yeah, it was a lot of money that ended up getting missed for the people who cut the trade, because I said to cut the trade down 20%. but I'd rather cut. That was the plan. I thought it was going to gap up and do something. Then we had Janet Yellen speaking. It was just a lot of things that were going on, a lot of variables where it wasn't safe to stay in that trade. And I didn't think it was smart, especially on a Wednesday with only 2 days left in a week, right? So, but yeah, the move that I was expecting happened the next day, gapped up. So instead of it gapping up here on the next day here, like I expected it closed down here and it gapped up the next day. But yeah, so people didn't cut the trade. It worked out for them, but it's and a lot of times, like I told y'all, we're up on the year. We up substantially on the year. So if we stick to the plan, remember the first thing you want to do is not lose money in this game. So before you consistently make money, you got to consistently not lose money. So know when you're in crazy situations where you could potentially lose money and just get out of those trades. Because again, you see, it was nothing for me for us to cut a trade that was down $25, because the next trade goes up several $100s. You know what I mean? So it was to cut a trade for $25 was nothing when I'm gonna call out a trade. And most of the time I consider what the previous trade was, and then I'll call out something for less than, what the remainder is, so that way you could double that money or whatever the situation is. But yeah, I just want to you got to stick to the plan, right? And I say that because, again, we always talk about trading being psychological, and whoever you are as a person, that's who you are as a trader. So if you got these natural urges, or I'm down $25, I want that $25 back, and don't cut the trade, or just worried about $25. That's the person that will get to buy the tape or whatever that's $25 cheaper, and now whatever you were trying to preserve, now you ruined the whole thing. You got to spend more money. You know what I mean? So it's one of those situations. Just cut the trade down $25. And if you and some people, because what I did was I ended up getting back in that trade later on that day before the market closed. So Microsoft was good to me last week, but the whole point was I didn't put the team back in anything in the close that day, because I didn't like the way the Microsoft trade played out. So I just didn't call out any more trades, that day, because of that swing. But we took advantage of the move the next day. But yeah, just important, just make sure that stick to the trade, stick to the plan. And if you got questions, you can always ask in the group. I don't respond to the DMs because I get too many of them. Sometimes I'll get a downtime and I'll check them, but I definitely got all of the notifications off for the DMs, because unless it's something personal, I'm not going to answer the DMs, right? So that's just yeah. And but yeah, we got a big week ahead of us, and I just think that if we stick to the plan, man, we can make a lot of money this week. Just take your profit, ask questions in the chat if you got any, and let's keep it moving, man. And that's all I have. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. I guess the rest of your Memorial Day. Cheers.
All right, bro.
All
Appreciate
right, bro.
it.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Have a good one.
All right, everybody. See y'all tomorrow.
Yeah.